Welcome to FPB's Meet the Candidates. This Cable 10 series allows you, the viewer, the voter, a chance to get to know our local candidates a little better and hear what they have to say on issues that are important to us. This is all leading up to our general election, which is Tuesday, November 6th. Today's guest is Chuck Knowles, and he is the Republican candidate for Magistrate in the 3rd District. How you doing?
I'm good. Good morning.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. I look forward to the opportunity.
All right. Well, why don't we just start out with you just telling us a little bit about yourself and why you've chosen to run.
Sure. Of course, I'm running for the 3rd District Magistrate. I'm a professional civil engineer. I retired from state government. I worked 34 years in the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet, which included several statewide leadership positions. I worked 3.5 years at the University of Kentucky Transportation Research Center also. I've been married 40 years to my wife Cindy. We have 2 sons, 2 granddaughters, and a Boston Terrier named Maggie.
Oh wow, did you get them all in?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Yeah. We have also hosted 5 foreign exchange students over the years while they were in high school, and that was an interesting experience. I've lived and volunteered in this community for over 42 years. And I'm also a Christian practicing my faith at Good Shepherd Catholic Church.
Okay.
The reason I decided to file and run for magistrate is I think this community needs a little bit of change in direction. I think our community is struggling. I think our population is stagnant. Our new housing starts are way down from what they used to be. And I just think that economically we need to rejuvenate our community and get it going in a better direction. And I wanted to bring my experience to that position in regards to infrastructure. My background, of course, is in roads and bridges, large budgets, also storm drainage. So I feel like I have the experience to bring to the position.
Well, good. Let's talk about just for a minute exactly what are the responsibilities of a magistrate in fiscal court, because some people, they may not even understand what that means.
Sure, and I get asked that all the time when I'm going door to door. People ask me, well, what does a magistrate do? And I briefly just explained, I guess the primary objective is to approve a county budget each year, which covers a lot of the county services provided to the taxpayers. Including the fire department, the sheriff's office, and of course county general administration, planning and zoning, and those types of positions. Another one would be to pass ordinances that relate to how property should be kept, other I guess regulations that the county feels are appropriate. They also levy taxes too, which has become an issue I know recently. And they also have the authority to issue bonds for county projects. And it's just, I guess basically that's 4 of the big ones. And there are others, other smaller tasks, I believe. Okay.
Well, you talked a little bit about your experience, but after listing the responsibilities, in addition to your experience, what characteristics do you have that you think lend to this job?
Well, first of all, I have a very strong work ethic. Yeah. I've applied that throughout my career and throughout my work even after I quit work. I mean, so I have a strong work ethic. Also, my integrity. I bring a very nice integrity to the position. People respect me, and I respect other people. And also have the leadership abilities to perform at this level also. Okay.
There will inevitably be a newcomer in this particular position because the incumbent isn't running this time.
Correct.
So what are the advantages of new blood?
Oh, I think the advantages of someone replacing an incumbent who has decided not to run again in its open seat are new ideas, new approaches to fiscal responsibility, new approaches to problems that maybe the incumbent wasn't maybe experienced enough to deal with, such as infrastructure, roads and bridges, and storm drainage. So I think it's both a combination of new ideas as well as bringing different experiences to the court.
Okay. So what do you see as the biggest issue, particularly in your district, in the 3rd District?
been going door to door since January, so I've talked to a lot of people, and I've gotten several page list of things that people have brought up as issues. And so when you kind of group those together, folks in the 3rd District are concerned about the condition of roads and bridges, which, you know, I have a background in. Storm drainage is also an issue in some locations. And I think there's a lot of interest in Lakeview Park. People want to make sure we maintain that and maybe add opportunities there, other activities that could be conducted at the park.
Yeah, it's a great park.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And it's got a lot of potential. And we need to take advantage of those opportunities to have such a nice facility.
Okay. Are there any other issues outside of the 3rd District that you know are big on the agenda for the fiscal court that should be?
Sure.
Yeah.
I think Franklin County has got several major challenges in front of it. The first, of course, is, and people mention this, is the loss of the Civic Center and the opportunity to have graduations here locally. I think people are concerned about maybe what is going to replace that facility. And I know it's going to take a long time to develop plans and maybe provide financing for such a facility, but I think it's important that we as a community have a facility where we can have our own graduations, have other events that can be, you know, entertained downtown, which is what the goal is to bring people downtown.
Sure.
So that's the first one. The second one, I'm really concerned about our sewage treatment issues, especially in the southwestern part of the county. I think those people out there have tolerated a poor system out there for years, and I think the county needs to move forward on trying to correct that problem with a treatment plant and get off the packaged treatment plants. Those are two of the major issues, and I think also the drug addiction issue in Franklin County is affecting, not only personally affecting families, but it's also affecting our job readiness, people who have the skills and the attitude and the health to enter the workforce here and provide our employers, you know, people who can perform the job and come to work every day.
Yeah.
So, and, you know, to me, the prevention aspect of that is really important, and I think there's some momentum growing for prevention. The Agency for Substance Abuse Policy meets monthly, and they have numerous folks who are now getting, I think, involved in the prevention of drug addiction.
Yeah. Well, Chuck, you're just on it because you've gone down my list of things I was going to ask you about.
Well,
so I want to back up for a minute. We're talking about down at the Civic Center.
Sure.
Or the non-Civic Center now.
Right.
Have you seen the proposed plan by City Visions?
Yes, I attended the public meeting at the library where City Visions presented their master plan for downtown redevelopment as well as reconnecting to the river. And I think I like the idea, first of all, that we're going to have something that's going to add tax base to the downtown area, which traditionally has been mostly state property, and you, of course, gain no property taxes from that. So with the state providing 6.4 acres and maybe other additional properties to the tax base, I think that's great. That's good for our city schools, and it's also good for the county because of the tax revenues.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in order to get that plan in motion, and it's going to take some funding, what funding mechanisms do you support?
Oh, wow. I think with the size of the property that's available there, I think the best thing to do is to offer that out to the private sector and have private developers look at the opportunities there, and I think going through the process of providing information and at some point responding to requests for proposals, that hopefully we can get some developers who see some benefit in investing in downtown and building out a long-term plan. This is going to take years, but I think you have to start with pieces of it and build over time.
So the advantage of having a private developer is that then we could collect those property taxes.
Absolutely.
As well.
As soon as you put that property back on the tax rolls, which would happen if the private developer, shows interest in they enter into an agreement, then we immediately begin to collect property taxes from that, which will be nice.
Sure, absolutely.
Yes.
You spoke a little bit about the sewer problem. So what more can the fiscal court do to address the health crisis that's posed by out at Farmdale?
Well, I think they've been very supportive and responsive to the recent issue out there of the sewage backing up into people's yards. In the 3rd District, we have 2 package plants, one down at Forks of Elkhorn and the other at the Capitol Mobile Home Park. But there are roughly 10 more, and most of those are out in the southwestern part of the county, as I said. I think we're going in a good direction there, because I think people are aware of the issue, and I think the need for a treatment plant in western Franklin County is the ultimate goal. My concern is that's going to be expensive, and I'm kind of concerned how we're going to be able to finance that. But hopefully over the next year or 2, we can come up with a plan to do that.
Okay. Well, this year the Fiscal Court has already voted to increase tax rates, as has both of our public school districts, and City Commission is preparing to do that as well.
Right.
I'm assuming that also has something to do with the increase in the pension contributions that we're having to make.
Right.
Along with other things that you've mentioned, needs that we have here in our community. What can we do as a community to generate more revenue so that we can minimize future tax increases?
Wow, that's, we've gotten in the position we're in as a county over many, many years. Our population is stagnant. We've lost up to maybe 2,000 state employees who work in Frankfort and Franklin County, and we no longer are getting, occupational tax from those employees that are not here anymore. And I think the big challenge is to grow. Our tax base assessment has been roughly $3.3 billion over the last several years. We're not growing in property value, which again generates the revenue that you use. Yeah. So I think growth is the big challenge and the big opportunity to obtain additional tax revenues. If you don't grow, then it's basically the same group of folks who, every time government services increase in cost or you have a major project, they're the ones who are footing the bill. Yeah. So and I think that's a concern of a lot of people. Their property taxes, nobody likes their property taxes to go up. No. And just recently, it seems like, as you said, there's kind of been a push for that all across the board. But I understand as a state retiree why that's necessary, because the pension system is in dire need of additional revenue. Yeah. So.
Well, you talked about growth, and leading to my next question. Okay. Especially back in the primary, a lot of the candidates were talking about that we've had stagnant population growth here in Franklin County. Right. And that we need some kind of change in order to spur growth. Right. What do you think that change looks like?
Wow. People make decisions about relocating or living in a community based on the taxes, based on the school system, the performance of the school systems, and what the community has to offer as far as amenities and recreational opportunities. And of course, I think the water park up at Juniper Hills was a great move, because that's something that people are looking for. But when you look at communities around us like Versailles and Georgetown, they have these indoor recreational facilities where people can go year-round to exercise or be with a family or do activities. And I think sometime in the long term, that would be a nice facility to have, because again, I think it attracts families with children who want to move here and live here, because they're looking for things to do, especially for the young people. With the
kids,
with the kids. So I think there's some opportunities there, but again, it took years to get in this position, and it's going to take a long time to work our way out of this. Yeah.
I'm going to switch gears just a little bit and talk about the plant board for just a minute. Okay. While I know it would take a change in legislation, do you think the county judge and fiscal court should be able to nominate and appoint members to the Frankfort Plant Board?
Yes. And the reason I say that, because I looked, and the plant board was very nice in responding to me when I asked about the amount of revenue and the number of customers that live in the county. They go to the plant board, and it's roughly a third of the customers and a third of the revenue generated by the plant board comes from people who live in the county outside of city limits. So to me, you've got 5 board members, and all of them are currently being appointed and approved by the mayor and the city commission. I think county government needs to have the opportunity to appoint 1, if not 2, possibly board members. And so, it would, as you said, it would take a change in the statute to do that. But I think that's something that the county needs to actively pursue.
Yeah. So if elected, is that something you would pursue?
Oh, absolutely. I believe in. I don't believe in taxation without representation. And so, you know, if we're paid, I live in the county, of course. I live outside the city limits. I'm paying, you know, rates and fees to the plant board, but I really don't have a say-so or a representative on the board.
Okay. All right. So, what are the top concerns, particularly from the business community, that you're hearing that you think the fiscal court could address?
Wow. Let me start with the manufacturing sector first.
Okay.
I've talked to several folks that are high up in two of the companies here in town, manufacturing companies, and their big concern is workforce and the people coming in their doors to do the job that they need to have them do. Again, we go back to the drug addiction issue where people can't pass the drug test. And we also have, I think, young people who aren't ready and skilled to do the jobs that need to be done. And I think we're beginning to move in a good direction locally with that, because the chamber is really trying to put the business community and the education community together and help the education community understand what the business needs. So from a manufacturing point of view, it's a skilled and I guess ready workforce. Small business wise, I think we need to look at our processes, Kathy. I mean, how open are we to business, and how accommodating do we help people who want to open a small business get through the bureaucracy of all the requirements it takes to start a small business, and help them get established. So those are the two. And then I think the third thing we need to work on is tourism. We have the Kentucky River, which I think is very underutilized when it comes to tourism, and hopefully the downtown redevelopment is going to bring folks back down to the river.
Okay. Well, you mentioned the need for a skilled workforce. Our local economic development group has told us that is an issue in bringing new businesses, new industry to our community. Is there anything that our local governments, and you mentioned the chamber, is there anything that our local governments can do to expand our workforce, not only in size but also in skill?
Well, of course, the size of the workforce is going to come from growth in the community.
Sure.
We have a lot of people who live in Frankfort and commute out of town to work in Lexington and Louisville and other places every day. And I'm assuming that if there were job opportunities here, that they obviously would prefer to work in town, but there just aren't the opportunities there. And what was the other part of your question? I'm sorry. We talked about the skill level of our students, yes.
and being work ready.
Yes.
Are there any programs that the fiscal court could work with our schools? I'm
not sure. To me, that's a relationship between the business community and education community.
Sure,
but I think fiscal court and the city commission both could be very supportive and provide maybe staff to be involved in working with young people in identifying potential careers, or help them develop skills, just as employees of the city and county, volunteering to help do that. So I think it's very important for young people to see what's available and what maybe is an opportunity for them.
Another issue that you mentioned, and that it is an issue for our local businesses, is that once they do find a skilled or qualified worker, oftentimes they don't pass a drug test. Is there anything fiscal court can do to address that issue, or help address that issue, or point people in the right direction? What can we do as a community to address this?
Well, again, I think there's a coalition out there, again, working with the Agency for Substance Abuse Policy, and the Ed Council is actively involved in this also with his Kids Grow Kentucky, trying to get people to realize that rather than treating and going through recovery issues with people on the back end of addiction, getting to the young people and explaining to them the bad effects of making that kind of decision, a wrong decision when they're young. Get into prevention. So as far as fiscal court goes, again, I'm not sure directly what they could do, other than maybe provide a little bit of funding in the annual budget to agencies who are working in that direction. But to basically support and give people the opportunity to present what they're doing, and either at fiscal court meetings or in other venues.
Okay. Do you think the fiscal court, as a public government entity, is adequately transparent? Is there any steps that you would take if elected to make it more transparent?
Well, of course, the meetings are taped, and they're broadcast on Cable 10, and they are open meetings, they're public meetings, and I find the work sessions before the formal voting sessions to be very informative, because that's where the issues are discussed. And again, those are taped. And then also the State Journal does a nice job, I think, of kind of summarizing fiscal court meetings and issues that are held and the rest. To answer directly your question about transparency, I guess other than maybe posting something on social media, which is, as you know, very popular, posting something out there to kind of summarize the meetings and make it available to people who just want to view it that way also.
Okay. Are there any decisions or steps the fiscal court has taken that, looking back, that if you'd been on the fiscal court, that you would have done differently?
I sat through the budget deliberations this past spring, and of course the topic was how we're going to fund the pension increase that's required. And I guess I was concerned because of my experience in roads and bridges and dealing with fleet management. Two things that they did to kind of make the budget balance this year was, one, they reduced the funding in the road department, which again, you're taking funding away from your infrastructure, which is basic to our community in getting people to and from work and to and from what they're doing otherwise. And then I think the other thing is they took out the purchase of maybe one or more vehicles. And when you look at our county fleet, Kathy, there are over 100 vehicles and pieces of equipment. The fire department's got like 37 pieces. The sheriff's office got 38 vehicles. And so a lot of those, when you look at the age of those, they're well beyond some of those of their useful service life. And so what you're doing is you wind up paying tremendous amounts in money to repair those and maintain those. So I would like to bring a little bit of fleet management experience to this to try to see if we can't get into more of an objective way in which we approach not only how we do our road maintenance and improvements with the funding we have available, but also how we manage our vehicles and equipment.
Okay. Yeah. So you've been out on the campaign trail, and since the last time we did these Meet the Candidate interviews, you've had the opportunity to meet a lot of people.
Yes. Yes.
What have you learned about Franklin County and the people of Franklin County?
I am really pleased with what I have learned from people, because I've up until running for magistrate, I've not had the opportunity to get out and just talk with people all over the district. Some of them are concerned about having graduations locally. Some of them are concerned about road and bridge conditions. It's just, and like I said, I've got a 3-page list of things. Sidewalks are another issue that people are concerned about, especially along Schenkel Lane. There's a lot of pedestrian traffic along Schenkel Lane. There are no sidewalks, and so I think that's another issue. So it's been very nice to see how people are somewhat aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And we'll share that with you. And so it's been kind of, to me, interesting in talking with people and learning what they're really thinking. Because unless you go out and talk with them one-on-one or ask them, most people don't share that kind of information. So. Okay.
Well, in wrapping up, I want to ask you, if elected, what are your goals that you would champion on the fiscal court, just that you want to get done?
I want to make sure that we're very comfortable with the county budget, both in the programs that are being funded, are they all necessary, as well as the efficiency of county government. Are we being as efficient as we can be? And of course, one of the big cost factors in any budget is personnel. And so I want to make sure that we're bare bones on our staffing, and that everybody has got plenty of work to fill their day. And because I came from state government, and in any organization, there are always challenges in keeping people busy all the time. So that's one thing. I want to make sure that fiscally we're, continuing to be responsible.
Okay.
Also, I want to, as I said, be more objective about how we decide where to spend our available road money, both on pavements and on bridges. And also think we need to institute a more formal process for managing the county's fleet of vehicles and equipment too. Because there's nothing worse than having a 24-year-old dump truck that really doesn't provide you much opportunity to use it. So that's what we have. We have a 24-year-old dump truck at the road department. So it's I guess being more fiscally responsible and as well as being a little more objective in our decision making.
Okay.
In what we do.
Well, I'm going to give you the opportunity now to look in that camera and talk directly to our viewers and tell them why you are the best candidate for this job and to ask for their vote.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate the time. I'd like to thank Frankfort Plant Board and Cable 10 and Kathy this morning for the opportunity to conduct this interview. If you want a magistrate who has broad qualifications, then you need to vote for Chuck Knowles. If you want a magistrate who has 37 years of relevant experience in roads and bridges and large budgets, then you need to vote for Chuck Knowles. If you want a magistrate who has lived and volunteered in our community for over 42 years, then you need to vote for Chuck Knowles. If you want a magistrate who's retired and can do the job full-time to represent you in county government, then you need to vote for Chuck Knowles. My mantra has been integrity, experience, and leadership, and I can bring all three of those to serving you as the 3rd District Magistrate. And I ask for your vote on November 6th. Thank you.
Thanks, Chuck. Is there somewhere, if people want to find out more about you and your candidacy, where they can go to?
Sure. My website is www.knowles4magistrate.com.
Great. Appreciate you coming by, and I know that our viewers appreciate hearing from our local candidates. And folks, this is Chuck Knowles. He's running for Magistrate of the 3rd District. Now, I want to tell you all, I want to remind you to go vote on Tuesday, November 6th. And when you're done voting, go home, tune into Channel 10, and check out our live election returns from the county clerk's office. It's election season, so it's time to get informed and go voice your choice. We look forward to seeing you again next time on Meet the Candidates.